Hello, everybody. Surprise! We are here for a bonus episode of the Jocks of All Trades podcast. Kyle, there was kind of a lot of stuff that went on that we wanted to talk about. Um, where do we start today?
Let's just start with Thursday night. Buccaneers, Eagles. Buccaneers end up winning that game 28-22. The game was a lot farther apart than the score would suggest. Eagles are never in that game. But it was funny at the end of the game, you saw Zach Ertz kind of in the locker room, in the way to the locker room, like very dejected, and it seemed sad, and was giving everybody high fives and hugs, and you're just like, okay, what's going to happen? Is he going to get traded? Well, a day later, he gets traded to the Arizona Cardinals for a fifth-round pick this year, and Tay Gallen, who was a sixth-round pick last year, I believe. So, Brad, first of all, what do you think of the Buccaneers and Eagles game? Anything stand out to you? And then second, first reactions from the Ertz trade.
Sure. To start out with the Bucks and Eagles game, first of all, the Eagles should have never ever won that game, and I'm not surprised that they didn't. And the second part to that would be, I am surprised, however, how many points that the Buccaneers defense allowed in the fourth quarter to an Eagles team that's not exactly threatening to anybody. So that was kind of a shocker to me. And I guess the third part here is it seems that the Eagles organization is allergic to running the ball ever at any point in time. So it's kind of frustrating when you have two really good running backs in Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell, kind of mirroring Antonio Gibson and McKissick for me a little bit, like with that run heavy and then pass heavy kind of back and forth. But they just don't do that. So yeah, that was my whole thoughts on that. Kind of underwhelmed with Brady. I thought he was going to do a lot more. Fournette ended up being like the entire Buccaneers team for that game. I don't know, man. What do you think? You're the Eagles fan here, so
Miles Sanders only has one carry in the first half. That's insanity. I don't have the exact stats on here, so I'm kind of paraphrasing, but like Miles Sanders is one of the top 5 running backs in the league in terms of yards per carry in like the last 3 years. And he's up there with a bunch of other stud running backs. Again, he only had one carry in the first half. Jalen Hurts has accounted for like 75 to 80% of the Eagles' total offense. Brad, no matter if you're Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, or one of the best quarterbacks in the league, you never want to see that to happen. You never want to see that happen. Sorry, I can't speak today. It's early. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Yes, these guys can do it by themselves. Lamar Jackson. But, if you have the opportunity to run the ball, if you have the opportunity to give your quarterback easy plays, easy throws, just different kinds of reads, you need to do that with Jalen Hurts. He's only his 9th game in. Why would you make him the entire offense? It's not like he was like a stud first-round pick or an all-pro. He can just manage all these things. He's 9 games into his career. He's struggling. He's right now a below-average quarterback. Why aren't you running the ball and making it easier for him? It's so insanely stupid for me, especially when you have Sanders and Kenny Gainwell. And also when you have guys like Devonta Smith who just get open, and then the Buccaneers lose all their corners, and then they lose Richard Sherman, and you still don't target the guy who came in for Richard Sherman. So many stupid things that I've seen. Yes, they put up 22, and that can cover up a lot of wounds and stuff. Oh, you scored 22. Well, that means your offense is decent. No, smart people who watch the game know that without a run game, they're not going to go anywhere. Jalen Hurts literally cannot do it all by himself. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Russell Wilson. And he's not Kyler Murray. So, you're going to need to get him some help by running the ball.
I think they thought, oh, wow, we have a former Big 12 quarterback, so we can just expect him to sling the ball 35 times in the game. That's not It's not going to happen. That's not his MO. If you watched him at Alabama and Oklahoma, he ran more than anything else, which is fine. Set up an option style offense because you've got Kenny Gainwell, Miles Sanders, and Jalen Hurts. That should be terrifying to people about who to cover in the backfield.
Well,
But they
that's the
don't.
thing. That's the thing. They run a lot of RPOs, but those RPOs don't do anything because there's like 4 different options on a play. Now, something simple, like what you're saying, read option, that's a very simple read. You have 2 reads. Give it to the running back or take it yourself. Make it simpler. Instead of 3, 4 reads, drop back. Just hand it off. Like a lot of their running plays are option plays. Like I'm just like, why not just, I don't
Hand
know,
the ball off.
run some basic run plays, see what your O-line can do. Another stupid thing, that's my last thing. Another stupid thing is, oh, well, the Buccaneers defense, they're number 1 defense against the rush. So people were like, well, of course we're not going to run the ball against the Buccaneers. You're playing right into their hands. That's so dumb. You don't just say, oh, they're really good against the run, so we're not going to try. That's what they want you to do. No, You still have to try. You still have to get physical, run the ball, and see if you can get a couple yards. So, listen, they were down for all of that game. No shot. Fourth quarter, what did they do? Give it to Miles Sanders, and all of a sudden they're in the game. So, like, that should tell you the recipe for success is you need to get him involved. You need to get Goddard involved, and he's back. And then obviously Ertz is gone. We'll talk about that now.
Yeah. So this sounds so obvious, but I have to ask. For the Ertz trade, Kyle, who won?
Oh, Cardinals for sure. Listen, the Cardinals are 5-0. They're on the uppity up. 5th round pick ain't gonna mean much for a Super Bowl team. It won't, especially when you have, most of your other picks. Tay Gowan might be a decent corner in 4 years, but that's a big might. He has to develop a lot. So, like, they don't need him. They don't need that 5th round pick. They got Ertz. They lost Max Williams. You have Rondale Moore, A.J. Green, Christian Kirk, like DeAndre Hopkins. Oh, my gosh, they have so many guys. So, even if Ertz is your 3rd, 4th, 5th option, they still won because, Max Williams played well for them, Brad, but in terms of a receiving tight end, he was not. He's much more of a blocker. Ertz is a incredible route runner still has very good hands, and he gets open. So when Kyler Murray's running around back there, that might work out a little bit better for him.
Yeah. Well, then in that case, so you would say short-term Cards win, long-term maybe the Eagles, because I don't think that Ertz is going to play another 2 or 3 years. He might play 1 or 2, and then
I think if he plays well this year, I think he could easily get extended to the Cardinals for a couple more years. He's only 30. Like, I know that's on the wrong side of a NFL career, but people are saying he's slowed down. I don't think he's really slowed down. I just think that they don't get him the ball enough to actually see if he's slowed down or not.
He didn't slow down. He just played for the Eagles. So
yeah, the Eagles are slowing down. So I just think you see a little bit more out of him, a little more targets, a little more plays designed for him. Kyler Murray, if he runs back there long enough, Ertz will get open. Heck, anybody will get open. They don't have a threat in the middle of the field. Like, even when Max Williams was there, I don't think he was that big of a threat. But Ertz just gets open, and I still think he will. So.
Well, because you've said that, let's break it down. So right now, Ertz is averaging 8.15 points, was with the Eagles. Goddard was averaging 9.72 with the Eagles, and Max Williams was averaging 8.26 with the Cardinals. But the injury with the 49ers kind of messed up his numbers a little bit because I think his numbers would have been a little better. So which player is going to benefit the most from this trade? It's going to be Ertz? Is it going to be Goddard? Is it going to long-term be Max Williams? Like, who wins the most out of this trade?
Long-term, Dallas Goedert, because he will get a chance these next 11 weeks to show that he deserves a big contract. Yeah. There's no more Ertz on the field, so he's going to see the majority of the snaps, majority of the targets. They're going to run a little bit of a different offense you're not going to keep running 2 tight ends with Dallas Goedert and Jack Stoll, the undrafted guy from Nebraska. No, like you're gonna run one tight end. It's gonna be Goddard out there. He's gonna show and prove if he's legit number one tight end, which I think he is. Again, if he gets the ball, but he doesn't enough. He's gonna benefit long term if he shows up, and he'll get a contract extension, probably something like 4 years, $42 million, something like that. I think he's worthy of it. He's a very good blocker, so he'll probably end up long term with the most benefit. But short term, yeah, it'll be Ertz for sure. It'll be the Cardinals, even if it's only for the next 2-3 years. If they're in win now mode, like Ertz can help you win now. Fantasy wise, though, I think Ertz's average will go up a little bit, not a tremendous amount, but a little bit, because they have so many weapons there. And then Dallas Goedert, I think, will also go up. It should be a lot. Like, he should be right there around, 14 points a game, I think. And if you're looking at 14 points a game, that's 7 catches for 70 yards in a PPR? Yeah. That should be doable for him. But the Eagles are stupid, so I don't know.
So then let me follow up that question with, is Ertz a top 10 tight end with the Cardinals offense with Kyler as the QB? Are we kind of worried that Kyler's mobility is going to create less opportunity for Ertz?
I think mobility will create more opportunity, but the weapons there will create less opportunity for Ertz. However, I still think if you have Ertz on your team, I think you should start him, unless you have guys like Darren Waller, Kelsey, guys like that.
The obvious guys.
The obvious guys, yeah. So if you have Ertz, you should be glad. And if you have Goddard, you should also be glad. I think this move helps out both of them for sure.
Yeah. Then you kind of answered my next question with your last answer. So I'll skip to, should you be trading for Zach Ertz in fantasy?
I wouldn't trade for him. I think it's very similar to your question about Rondale Moore or guys like that. I think I might trade for Christian Kirk in a league just because I have literally no other receivers on my bench. But I don't think you should trade for a guy on the Cardinals unless you're giving up nothing. Just because it's very inconsistent what they're going to do. Hopkins is getting the most targets in yards, but in terms of fantasy production, he's not where you drafted him to be at. Rondale Moore is again inconsistent because there's so many weapons there. So maybe you do it depending on matchups for Ertz, but if your tight end is Joe Schmo, then sure, trade for Ertz. I think that's a good pickup. But again, if you have a top 10 tight end already, I don't know if you should.
Okay. Kyle, I know you were super excited to talk about this. For anybody that doesn't know, I am currently sick. I have the Rona, so I am here as proxy, but I'm barely alive, so I'm kind of relying on Kyle today. Kyle, what players – welcome to college football, by the way. We're finally getting to talk about it before college football starts. What guys should you be watching this Saturday?
Well, unfortunately, Ohio State and Penn State are not playing today, so I have to take off my hat and I have to take off Luke's hat today. Alabama is still playing today. We'll first of all go to the 12 o'clock games here. UCF and Cincinnati. Cincinnati's undefeated. Look at the senior quarterback, Desmond Ridder, 12 touchdowns, 2 picks on the year, 6'4". He has the height that you want. I don't think he's going to be a first round, probably not even second round draft pick, but I think he could be a guy like Kellen Mond somewhere in the 3rd round, somewhere in the 4th round that a team takes a flyer on and hopefully can develop. Maybe even like a Kirk Cousins when he came out. I think he was a 3rd, 4th round pick. So that's somebody to watch out for today, especially Cincinnati's undefeated. And if you're a team like I don't know, give me an old quarterback. If you're a team or maybe even the football team or a team like the Falcons, someone who kind of is looking for a quarterback, not really sure who they want, but you could take a flyer on a 3rd, 4th round guy and hopefully he can develop. So Cincinnati is really impressive this year, Brad.
They are. I've been kind of critical on them. Like I like them, and I don't at the same time. Forgive me. I like them, and I don't at the same time. They are explosive. They've got a really good offense. I like Desmond Ritter, but I'm never sold on their defense in big games. So I think if they do, I think this is the best year for them to be in the playoffs. I think if they do get a push for the playoffs, I need to see big moments from that defense for me to say, oh, this Cincinnati team is real. So I guess I'm kind of like tomato, tomato with it. You know what I mean? Like, yes and no. I don't know. But I do like them as an offense.
Another 12 o'clock game, Michigan State up against Indiana, IU. IU is not doing too good this year. Michael Penix was like a Heisman candidate at one point last year. This year, he's not quite there. He's very, very, very bad this year. But still a winnable game, I think, for IU, especially if their defense shows up. But Michigan State defense, very good this year. But the running back, Kenneth Walker, 900 yards, 9 touchdowns, about a 7.1 yards per carry average. If they keep it going, he's definitely a Heisman candidate. So watch out for Kenneth Walker today. He might get another 150 to 200 yards. We'll see. The IU defense is pretty tough against the run, so he might not get his usual, but definitely a running back to watch out for, especially Michigan State's offense, I think is very run heavy. And they're your prototypical Big Ten team, just run the ball well and play good defense. So might not be flashy, but Kenneth Walker is definitely a stud still.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to take the next one because he brought me personal pain last week. Zach Calzada, listen, he's not doing that bad this season. I guess I have him on here because I want to see, are you real or did you just get really lucky against Alabama? And they'll have a really good chance to prove that against a Missouri team. Missouri's defense, as usual, is the best part about them. Their offense is always like super suspect, even though their quarterback looks better than Calzada this year. I want to see if Calzada's real. Obviously, you have Isaiah Spiller. You can hand off the ball at any point and not have that pressure, but I want to see him step up in some of these big moments again for me to say, oh yeah, Texas A&M was never overrated. They just had rough losses. If that makes sense.
Yeah, if you're Alabama, you definitely like to see them start playing better and winning games because that just makes you look better. You know, like Penn State early on in the year beat Wisconsin. You're like, wow, that was a good win. They beat Auburn. Wow, that was a good win. And then Wisconsin sucks now, and Auburn is kind of struggling a little bit. So if you lose to a team or if you beat a team close or you think it's a really good game, whoever you play, you just want them to be the best they can be. So, yeah, if I was an Alabama fan like you, I'd want them to dominate everyone else so you can look a little bit better.
Yep.
Another Texas A&M guy, DeMarvin Leal, defensive tackle / defensive end against Missouri. He's 6'4", 290, has about 5 sacks this year. Listen, he's not going to put up like a monstrous number of sacks, but he's, 4.5 still really good, but he's going to be a guy in the NFL, a first-round pick for sure, probably top 15 if he stays healthy. A guy that you can slide inside and out. He'll probably be able to play a 3-4 defensive end, or he'll slide in as a 4-3 D tackle. He can do a lot for you, and he's very, very athletic. So big, but he can move very well. And I'm sure if you watch the SEC network and watch Texas A&M on the SEC network, they're going to rave about him and the Texas A&M defensive line. So watch out for him. I believe he's big number 9. I think. Don't quote me on that.
I think so. Leal was in the back. Leal was in the backfield a lot against Alabama. He makes me nervous, especially because he's a big guy. And Alabama's O-line was not good against A&M at all. So I have a feeling he's going to add a couple more sacks against Missouri. Maybe 2.5, maybe. Because he's going to get back there. He's a big guy.
Well, an even bigger guy. I have 2 guys when you talk about.
All right.
So Bama, Mississippi State. your team, you have one of the biggest dudes ever, Evan Neal, guard, 6'7", 350 pounds, earth mover. You probably will struggle with guys like Liao or quicker guys because he's massive. He can't move as well as a smaller, more agile guy. But still got to give him credit because he locks up pretty much anybody. Just humongous man. Run, just get behind him when you're running the ball, and you'll be fine. So Evan Neal will probably be a top 10 pick this year, I would think, if he stays healthy. And massive human being. Probably the best guard coming out other than Kenyon Green from also Texas A&M. He's a guard. So watch out for Evan Neal. You won't miss him if you watch him.
Actually, there's another way you can watch him coming up soon. The next Godzilla movie is actually going to feature Evan Neal as the monster that Godzilla has to fight because he's that big. Anyways, yeah, sorry, I just had to be funny for a minute.
Yeah, he'd probably rival Godzilla for sure.
Yeah.
Another big guy. We're not near the end of these big guys yet. Jordan Davis, nose tackle for Georgia. Georgia plays Kentucky today. A battle of the undefeateds. Jordan Davis is a nose tackle, 6'6", 330 pounds. Nose tackles are not that popular anymore, especially not in the NFL. But if you get a good one, he can make the difference for your whole team. A reason why the Buccaneers, Brad, are number one against the rush is because they have Vita Vea in there, a massive human being who just throws people around.
He's a monster.
Monster. And if you get guys like that, I mean, they can just stuff your run defense, and that's why. Watch out for him. Louis Cine is safety, a hard hitter at safety. I'm pretty sure Penn State was in on him one point in high school, but of course he lost out. Speaking of Penn State guys, Kentucky, Will Levis, their starting quarterback, played for Penn State, and he transferred to Kentucky. He's not going to throw the ball well. This will be interesting to watch. I'm excited to watch it, Brad, because Kentucky's offense is very run-heavy, but their defense is good. So maybe they can keep it close, and Levis can make a few plays at the end. Where do you see this game going?
I'll be honest, Georgia's probably going to win. That defense is just too stout. That's usually the only thing anyone ever worries about when Georgia comes up on their schedule is their defense. But I'll be honest, Kentucky's got a little fight in them. I think this might be more of a dogfight in the first half than people think. And then I think it's going to get lopsided and Georgia's going to take over in the second half. But I don't think this is going to be we're going to beat you like 52-0 kind of game.
Yeah. And another guy from Kentucky to watch out for, like you mentioned, on the sheet that I'm looking at, Chris Rodriguez. He has about 800 yards almost on the year, 5'11", 225. He's pretty big for a running back. But they are a run-heavy, run-first team. So if Georgia slows them down, if they stop the run, he hasn't been stopped all year, except for, interestingly enough, Tennessee Chattanooga. He had his worst game against them, which I don't understand at all. But I guess that's college football. But his best game came against LSU and then Missouri. So, you were saying Missouri's defense is pretty good. Maybe not against the run, but he's going to have a heck of a time against Georgia, especially with that aforementioned Jordan Davis there. This will be exciting to watch. Probably my favorite game of this Saturday.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. One next guy on our list, obviously Spencer Rattler has struggled quite a bit this season, enough to the point that I think, was it multiple games that people were calling for him to be benched?
Yep.
Not just one, multiple. He did finally get benched. Caleb Williams came in, kind of played really well. I say watch Caleb Williams. I don't think Spencer Rattler is going to start the rest of the season if Caleb Williams keeps playing like that. Yeah. Which also, so what's your take on Spencer Rattler at this point? Is he still like a top 10 pick, or is he just going to fall to like the fourth round?
He might even fall farther than that. Now, what he could do is maybe find another year in college and go somewhere and start. Like that could be an option for him, because I know that with COVID last year, A lot of players have the opportunity to stick around for another year. Like everybody has another year of eligibility, so that's something to watch out for. But I never really liked him. I think he's very much like a Johnny Manziel. He was in a show. I'm not sure if you saw it. I only think clips of it. It's called like QB1, I think. I think it's on Netflix, maybe. But it's just going through quarterbacks' processes and how they became the starter and just kind of their life in general, I think. But Spencer Rattler was very much he was a douche canoe in that show. He didn't treat people well. He doesn't seem like a leader. He's blaming his receivers, blaming running backs. He has some issues that he needs to iron out. And if you're going to be a quarterback in college or in the NFL, leading is a top priority. And I don't think he can do that. And I don't think he's very humble either. So maybe he can get humbled by this experience and be better somewhere else. But Caleb Williams, he won't come out this year, but in a couple of years, he might eventually be the first overall pick in the NFL draft at some point. So watch out for him.
Rattler is going to move to an SEC team that's garbage and be their starting quarterback. That'll be my prediction.
Probably. All right.
Tennessee.
What's that? Tennessee. Yeah. Everybody goes to Tennessee. That's for sure. Oklahoma State and Texas is on today. Watch out for running back Bijan Robinson from Texas.
I like him.
He is so good. Whenever he comes out, and he won't come out this year, but whenever he does, I think he'll be a first-round pick. He reminds me a lot of Saquon Barkley when he came out. He's just very physical, very tough, athletic. He cuts so well, and he can put on the burners too. And he's not small. He's 6 foot 215. So he's a big dude, tough to bring down. Watch out for him against Oklahoma State. He might go nuts. Also, Texas, you're not back yet. I know every year you win a big game, and you're like, oh, Texas, we're back. You're not. And I'm not going to say you're back until you, start beating some good teams.
So, will Bijan Robinson, will he join the quad group? What is it called? The quad squad or something like that?
Quad squad. Yeah. I don't know. I've never heard of that. But
really?
Is that what Saquon's is a part of?
Yeah, so Saquon, there's this whole group of people that are part of the quad squad. Saquon is one. I think A.J. Dillon is another one. Running backs in the NFL, they all have these massive quads, and they're part of the quad squad. So it's entirely possible that Bijan Robinson joins that. So we'll see.
Probably. The quad squad. Wow. Saquon has some big quads.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's definitely running back to watch out for, and probably will be in the Heisman race next year, I assume, if he stays healthy. Last but not least, I'll give you a little bit of a defensive guy here. Florida, LSU. I don't think LSU has a chance in this game, but Khalil Elam from Florida, 6'2", 196. He has 6 picks in his career, 18 pass deflections. Very long, tough, instinctive corner on the outside. I want the Eagles to get him because we need corners pretty soon. So I think he'll be a top 15, top 20 pick in this draft this year, and probably one of the best corners not named Derek Stingley, who I think is playing for LSU today. He's also going to be probably a top 5 pick. So 2 really good corners to watch out for today if you're not really interested in watching the offense. So,
yeah. Can I remember how Florida LSU went last time? Wasn't there a shoe thrown by somebody that kind of threw the game?
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Was it LSU or Florida that did it though? That's what I'm trying to remember. I feel like it was LSU.
Yeah.
We gotta mention that real quick, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, it was LSU. It was LSU in Florida. Yeah.
Yep.
Marco Wilson picked up the cleat and tossed it 20 yards upfield. And then Ed Orgeron, in his voice, said, no. He said, I don't think I've ever been in a game. Go Tigers. I've ever been in a game where a player threw a shoe. Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct, giving LSU a first down, and LSU won. So, not good, Marco Wilson. Oh, boy.
Thanks, Molly. He needs to hear it more often.
So, yeah.
With that being said, that is going to wrap up our bonus episode for the Jocks of All Trades. I am Brad, and I am joined by Kyle, and we will see you again on Tuesday.
So, yes.